Behind a Photograph, a Marvel fanfiction written by 107th Infantry on AO3. Tony put on yet another smile. They seemed to keep falling off, but there was way too many cameras around to give the act up. He sighed. "Tony Stark!" yelled a young woman as she entered the large room. She softened her voice, immediately realizing her mistake. "It's so amazing to meet you in person." "Ah yes, intern 63, Mindy. She'd done work in the biolabs and created a new testing protocol." "Miss Padalino, it's so wonderful to meet you," said Tony with his biggest smile. "You've done some amazing work in the labs." He really meant it. She had. He was just so tired. "Let's get a photo together." She absolutely beamed. They lined up for the photo. That was the whole point of her being here. He handed her a Stark Industries certificate in a picture frame, tilted at just the perfect angle that he learned for Photoshops at the age of 7. The black wall behind them was plastered with a white Stark logo. The cameras created a cacophony of clicking. "Goodbye, Mindy. We hope you return next year." Mindy waved goodbye as she exited the door opposite to the one she'd entered. He'd given her a good experience, which was his goal. Journalists and politicians could go to hell, but these kids mattered. "Smile, Tony, smile. Only 34 to go." "Mr. Stark!" It was Peter bounding through the entrance floor. It was Peter! Tony walked towards the boy. "What are you doing here, Peter?" Peter stared up at him. "Mr. Stark!" Tony held up an open hand to the photographers. Cameras were hastily shoved into bags. "What?" It was good to see Peter in the middle of this. He could already feel his moodiness lifting. Maybe they could work on the suit later. He ruffled Peter's hair. "I'm an intern." No, Peter wasn't an intern. He was Tony's intern. He was Tony's kid. He didn't like people, so Tony had to try hard to make him happy at his own expense. Tony pulled Peter into a hug. Peter tensed and then relaxed into it, giving his arms a gentle squeeze. Tony felt happy. He felt content, like he should stay like this forever. Peter released him. "What was that for?" "It's just good to see you, Wonderoos." Peter smiled up at him. It was such a genuine smile. Peter liked him. Peter knew him. Peter cared. "It's good to see you too, Mr. Stark. Can we work in the lab once you're done with this?" "Sure, I'll be there in a bit. Go ahead and start working on the suit." "Really?" asked Peter. He moved to the door in excitement. One of the photographers exed forward. "Mr. Stark," said the photographer, "we still need a photo." "Of course," said Tony. Peter scooted into the frame next to him. They weren't lined up with a Stark background, and there was almost certainly light in the background. Tony didn't care, because he knew Peter didn't care. He positioned the certificate in between them. Just as a single camera clicked, Tony and Peter stuck bunny ears on each other. It had always been how they protested Pepper's unexpected photos. This photo was for them. As Peter walked out of the second door, he turned. "Get me a copy of that photo." The photographer nodded, but Tony knew he was the one who the comment was aimed at. He'd get the kid a copy when he got one himself. He needed more family photos anyway.